There are several things one must consider. That Thebes, the cult center of Amon, was heavily influenced by the Hyksos, and they are said to have been taught how to fight by them. And of course, this is where we get the umbilical cord being mummified in order to celebrate the pharaoh's birth. And of course, the umbilical cord is also associated with Apophis, Apophis, Apep. So Apis is a moon deity more than a sun deity. He was more associated with the moon deities until the bowl of Heliopolis idea became commonly accepted and propounded. He was also associated with the riches of the underworld, and we'll get to that in a moment. But I want you to first and foremost focus on Fortuna, April Fool's, Phoenix, and virility. In the Phoenix program, the American soldiers in Vietnam were said to say April Fool's motherfucker when they would invade people's homes and take away people who were said to be political dissidents, and they would rape them and abuse them. And this connects to the phoenix as a symbol of reproduction, the Greek interpretation and twist of the Ben bird. And so Fortuna is associated with virility and women and how they feed into that, similar to the New Age and sexual empaths, so to speak. So let us start and show. The white Western man and of course woman are victims of a pagan culture that corporations, cults, and other entities force them to live with. In the absence of a strong national push in the spirit of righteousness and self-realization toward God, people fail to maintain focus, discipline, and self-control. An organized, well-financed effort to bring lust, materialism, and selfishness out of humanity will all too easily allow for the triumph of worldly dark behavior over the life-fulfilling and perfecting principles of good. Fortuna and Venus complement Serapis. Osiris is a democratization of the pharaoh's power, meaning fertility cults with no true divine connection or power. He also judges the dead and allows for elaborate burial rituals. Through Isis, he redefines love, and his con-whore child becomes Serapis. Amon, or Amun, a moon is another way to look at it, through torture and sexual sadism, will finish revealing himself and step out into the light and atmosphere. Shu begged him to come out of hiding, and he had to flail and behead a ram to do so, and he ended up hiding in that image. And this, I believe, is where you get the Baphomet, the main idea behind it. There's other ram deities in Egypt, but none of them are as significant in the later kingdoms as the ram. And certainly we see the abandonment of the old kingdom philosophy, and certainly Narmer's philosophy of Haru the Elder. So it is logical to assume that this is what they mean, and I'd be shocked if this is not what they were getting at with the goat, the Baphomet and Satanism and so on. Apis is the soul of Ptah, and men of the craft and world as such. He is the bowl covering the true light of Heliopolis, or the bowl covering the light. Okay, Judeo-Greco-Roman cult world emerges of Hades-sanctioned sexual immorality. Okay. Fortuna, how she complements Serapis. She separates classy women from common females and prostitutes with separate rituals. Okay, this shows you a class structure in the different places they put you on the pyramid, regardless of what propaganda they tell you. Women cultivate her ideal spirit only. She shares the festival day with Venus Verticordia, this April's Fools, right? April 1st. A temple possibly converted into a church. One of her temples was possibly converted into a church. This is an example of superimposition, amalgamation, and shared sacred ground, which becomes the blending, the combination. She is said to help cover up females' imperfections from men, and they burn incense to her. Okay? So think about how this is twisted versus more of how it was originally meant. Married women worshipped Venus under Verticordia, which means turner of hearts. She was said to change hearts from lust to chastity. Think about Eros, Cupid, okay? and psyche, and how they relate to, you know, this pedophilia we see, this kind of childish behavior, people celebrating the childish behavior of men instead of the true, intense, sun, masculine spirit that allows them to man up and accept the true order of God and to act accordingly. Juno is the protector of married women, Hera's counterpart. The Capitoline Mint was at Juno's temple. Men were said to have their genius, women their Juno. You know, this kind of gold-digging idea of, if I, you know, make myself in a way that is acceptable to the genius, I'm going to rise the ranks socially. You know, so genius in terms of worldliness, and Juno in terms of gold-digging, hypergamy, and conformity. All right. So women, you know, like animals that are in heat or to be turned on, right? On, Heliopolis, heat, sun, light. I'm sure you can make those connections on your own. Okay, so this is about Eurydice, this page, and Aristeus, or Aristeus, right? The T is the plus, Aristeus, okay? And sometimes they refer to, you know, it really refers to the good, the bad, and the in-between at the same time as you dwell on what they're trying to tell you, right? Ari as the goddess, the deity of discord, and Ari as the people who set the divine order, the leopard order, the leopard being said to be found in sub-Saharan Africa, and that gives away the great cat of Heliopolis and where this thing comes from and why. All right, Hades, underworld, Circe. Okay, Circe was above Egypt. From their perspective, you can argue that Egypt was the underworld from their view. So Eurydice, or Eurydice, wife of Orpheus, flees from Ares because he saw them for who they really are, right? Zeus is the father of Hercules. Hercules, when you do the wordplay, backwards and forwards and so on. So lack Ra, or so, you know, breed, you know, spread your idea, you know, like Ra, or so in a way that lacks Ra. And Hades, of course, her call is Hercules. And Hades, taken on Osiris's attributes, is merged with Apis and his characteristics. This forces one to the conclusion that by forcing on Heliopolis to concede Jesus, or Jew says, or backwards, say sage, what the sage says, okay, is a Jewish sorcerers from the men's cult, you know, chemistry, chemists try, right? Chemists, the cult center of Min, the deity who spread out into the foreign lands, especially Canaan. Okay, Min's cult idea, and he is in the image of Hades, Amon, hidden in Osiris, mixed with Apis in gender-neutral sex to give you Serapis. So rapus, see rape is. See rape as this. Look, rape isn't just forcing somebody. Look at how we can do it in a civilized manner and rape them all, and rape the most attractive, and not scare them away by raping the first women we see with brute force and a knucklehead philosophy, but using drugs, illusion, psychology to create a civilized center where we attract the most attractive women of the world, conning them into being whores, right? Con whore. Okay. Later on, when Michael casts out the ancient serpent, Apep the devil, he does it as Hercules. Okay? People then mix together in a Hindu, Buddhist, yin-yang sort of way that closes heaven and hell for the future people on earth. So when you think about, why do I say in the spirit of Hercules? Because Serapis, Apis, right, is the idea that we're moving toward this big, strong, worldly kind of perspective mixed with illusion and chemistry and so on, kind of like Nazi science, you know, psychiatry and so on, to force you to see it our way and to rely on this kind of a hero as we cover up the light and screen out the real bloodline of Ra, the angle, right? Work the angles, okay? The angel. And L, right? The G is the hidden hand of masonry. The G, the silent G. Ebo has a silent G as well. People then mix together in a Hindu, Buddhist, yin-yang sort of, okay. Purgatory, means no national loyalty but oneness, and mankind is in purgatory on earth forever, which is the message. Which is the message that they're sending. The second beast makes this clear as they are alluding to Callisto, Pan, the Arcadians, and the Nemean lion. Callisto is associated with the bear and worshipped by the Arcadians, and I believe Arcadia is their center of, their administrative center, as a bear, right? And you see the second beast has leopard, Pan, Bacchus, Dionysus, bear, Callisto, okay? Of course, California bear, and the Nemean lion, right? The roaring lion that Hercules destroys, okay? So the devil walks about as a roaring lion. Jesus is the Lion of Judah and not as a leopard, right? Can a leopard change its spots? No one is good but God alone. Can the Ethiopian change his skin? No. And this is insignificant, right? This is something the Son created. This doesn't mean that they're evil. Can the leopard change his spots? No. It's this is the example of the people we're using for the example, right? Amos 9:7. Are ye not as the children of Israel? Are ye not as the Ethiopians? Unto me, O children of Israel, or something like this. Okay, so these are the people that made the example to the world, and so they can't change the skin that you see as unattractive that might be associated with night, but that is irrelevant. Neither can the leopard change his spots, but he is the perfect example in an animal, right? The cat, the great cat of Ra. Okay. So pan also means all, representing the whole pagan world. This is why pederastry, you know, the older men courting the younger men and bringing them into the mysteries and so on and teaching them how to be a man in a gender-neutral society, which we saw in Greece in the 4th century BC when it became popular, somewhere around there. Okay, that's a significant date. A lot of changes occurred there as well. Okay, through pan, all are taken care of. All the different aspects of what Greeks define as human nature are addressed, so these people can feel comfortable in society if they follow the secret society structure. Okay, so I believe the nymphs also had the constellation Hyades, and certainly there must be a connection there with that and Hades. Okay, so I want you to think about the deeper implications of this picture. Think about the great elephant, the horn, right? The elephant answers the call. You know, he understands intensity, and he answers the call of the great leopard. So he's the great elephant, and it has to do with the divine order. And elephants in nature are depicted quite often chasing away hippos. Okay, so symbolically he answers the call of the Pharaoh, and the Pharaoh is God. You know, he gets there because God perfects nature, the rhythm, the harmony. The science isn't enough. You have to have this kind of godlike attribute to express things in a way with no ill-gotten gains to outmaneuver someone who has a certain rhythm and harmony, which is what African martial artists are perhaps known most for by people who don't understand the element of grace and moving like a hawk to then penetrate through nature like a ray of light from Ra's intense center to convey it, to direct it, to channel it, to deliver it. To deliver the message, to perfect your opponent by showing him where he went wrong. And as he rules out everything, he starts looking to the spirit, and either he perfects himself by conceding your point, or he perfects himself by altering his strategy, or ideally both. Thank you. Oh yeah, so think about Theseus slaying the Minotaur. The Minotaur is portrayed as like this strong, bold person who's built and reproduced in a way where he has to rush in and relies on you being afraid and then get knocked over so he can ground and pound you or stab you to death. But if you're in the Spirit of God and you overcome the fear, you fear no evil, you outmaneuver him and strike him effectively, then he is the one who's done. So you see him with his hand on the shoulder. He's unable to stop the hand in motion. The closest thing he can do, he's like a big strong guy whose arms are flailing in vain, so he puts the hand on the shoulder while he's about to get stabbed by this effective dagger designed to fit the body type of the person wielding it, to penetrate through the body type of the muscular, Minotaur type of body shape, the bull, the golden bull, the bull of Heliopolis, Apis, Bacchus, okay, and Butchus, Bucus, Mont, and so on, and the bull of Min, the strong arm, and so on.